my fellow citizens of all nations. This video is going to be a little bit different. I'm going to be reacting to a video about Friedrich Nietzsche and basically checking it out. So let's see it together, this video.
The challenge begins with how to pronounce his name. The first bit should sound like ni, the second like cha, Nietzsche. Then we need to get past some of his extraordinary and provocative statements. What doesn't kill me makes me stronger. God is dead, and we...
By the way, what does not kill me and makes me stronger, you can almost find this thing in every, this saying in every gym. It's so incredibly popular saying, and almost no one knows that actually Nietzsche is the one who said it. But it's also interesting that since we and most of us know about how Nietzsche was physically, right? The fact that his sayings and his ideology is admired by people that are training the gym, are incredibly serious sports people, in MMA and etc. They just admire his sayings and his way of thinking. So without even knowing that it is the Nietzsche who said it.
We have killed him, and his large moustache. But when we do, we'll discover a thinker who's intermittently enchanting, wise, and very helpful. Friedrich Nietzsche was born in 1844 in a quiet village in the eastern part of Germany, where his father was the priest. He did exceptionally well at school and university, and so excelled at ancient Greek that he was made a professor at the University of Basel when still only in his mid-20s. But his official career didn't work out. He got fed up with his fellow academics, gave up his job, and moved to Sils Maria in the Swiss Alps, where he lived quietly, working on his masterpieces, among them The Birth of Tragedy, Human All Too Human, The Gay Science, Thus Spoke Zarathustra, Beyond Good and Evil, On the Genealogy of Morals. He had lots of problems. He didn't get on with his family. I don't like my mother, and it's painful even for me to hear my sister's voice. Women kept rejecting him.
Oh, this is interesting, by the way. This is very interesting. Actually, there is basically this belief, and probably very probable, that most of Nietzsche's works was basically sort of either directly edited or written by his sister. So the certain way his sister would always try to influence Nietzsche's work. And he expressed in many ways disdain or sort of dislike toward his sister. But I did not knew that he didn't like his mother as well.
Hear my sister's voice. Women kept rejecting him. His books didn't sell. And when he was only 44, he had a mental breakdown, precipitated when he saw a horse in a Turin street being beaten by its driver, and ran over to embrace him, shouting, "I understand you."
The story about the horse, right? As far as I know it, this is not true. This never happened. And actually, since we are about this, I'm not like 100% sure, but as far as I know academically, that's a fictional story. That never happened about the horse. He did not saw a horse and had a mental breakdown. But let's ask ChatGPT about this because, yeah, I could be wrong. Hello, ChatGPT. Can you hear me?
Hey, I can hear you loud and clear. What's up?
So, ChatGPT, right now I'm recording a video reacting to Philosophy of Nietzsche on YouTube, and basically in this video the creator mentions the famous story of Nietzsche seeing this horse getting beaten and somehow he having a mental breakdown basically. And what the original author of the video is saying is that basically this sort of thing happened, but what I am saying in this video, and by the way I'm recording this right now, so hey, say hi to my audience as well, is that story actually never happened. So what kind of information do you have in your base about this story?
That's a great point to raise. So the story you're talking about is really well known, and it's kind of a legend. It comes from a biographical account of Nietzsche by his friend and publisher Peter Gast. But a lot of scholars debate how real it is. Some think it might be exaggerated or symbolic, so it's not like a verified historical event, but it's definitely a powerful image people use when talking about Nietzsche's decline. So that's the context you can share.
Okay, thank you. So it's again, it shows us powerful image, so creates powerful image, but it's again, as far as I know, this is very debatable story, as ChatGPT said it as well, and that's how I know it. In fact, I think this is outright just mythology, but again, it's the story itself makes powerful sense.
He never recovered and died 11 sad years later. but his philosophy was
Well, most likely that story itself, I still think it's not real. But again, let's not just let's move on.
full of heroism and grandeur. He was a prophet of what he called Selbstüberwindung, or
Good for pronouncing this. God, wait, Selbstüberwindung. Good job.
overcoming, the process by which a great-souled person, what he called an
Wait, how did he
Übermensch,
say it?
overcomes. He was a prophet of what he called Selbstüberwindung, or
Selbstüberwindung. God.
self-overcoming, the process by which a great-souled person, what he called an Übermensch, rises above their circumstances and difficulties to embrace whatever life throws at them. He wanted his work to teach us, as he put it, how to become who we really are. His thought centres around 4 main recommendations. 1. Own up to envy. Envy is, Nietzsche recognised, a big part of life. Yet the lingering effects of Christianity generally teach us to feel ashamed of our envious feelings. They seem an indication of evil, so we hide them from ourselves and others. Yet there's nothing wrong with envy, maintained Nietzsche, so long as we use it as a guide to what we really want. Every person who makes us envious should be seen as an indication of what we could one day become. The envy-inducing writer, tycoon or chef is hinting at who you are capable of one day being. It's not that Nietzsche believed we always end up getting what we want. His own life had taught him this well enough. He simply insisted that we must face up to our true desires, put up a heroic fight to honour them, and only then mourn failure with solemn dignity. That is what it means to be an Übermensch. 2. Don't be
But I don't think that this is what it means to be an Übermensch. Again, envy is a great part of humanity, but I think the Christianity doesn't necessarily tells us that envy is bad. I think there's a different type of envy, right? There is destructive envy when, for example, you envy someone in that sense, oh, so good of you, for example, having that house or driving that car or whatever, oh, and just applauding and just at the same time experiencing, oh, I wish I had that as well. And there is sort of different form of envy when you look at someone and you're like, oh my God, this person doesn't deserve it, does not deserve whatever, and that's different form of envy. So yeah, let's move on.
a Christian. Nietzsche had some extreme things to say about Christianity. In the entire New Testament, he wrote,
Again, I have summaries of anti-Christian in this channel. Watched extensively. I think it's a close to 30-minute video. You can find that video here if you want to. So yeah, definitely some very extreme opinions about Christianity, but some of them very powerful. And I'm curious if what I consider main points of the anti-Christian is mentioned in this video.
there is only one person worth respecting, Pilate, the Roman governor. It was knockabout stuff, but his true target was more subtle and more interesting. He resented Christianity for protecting people from their envy. Christianity had, in Nietzsche's account, emerged in the late Roman Empire, in the minds of timid slaves who'd lacked the stomach to get hold of what they really wanted, and so had clung to a philosophy that made a virtue of their cowardice. He called this Sklavenmoral. Christians, whom he rather rudely termed die Herde, the herd, had wished to enjoy the real ingredients of fulfillment, a position in the world, sex, intellectual mastery, creativity, but they'd been too inept to get them. They'd therefore fashioned a hypocritical creed, denouncing what they wanted but were too weak to fight for, while praising what they didn't want but happened to have. So, in the Christian value system, sexlessness turned into purity, weakness became goodness, submission to people one hates became obedience, and, in Nietzsche's phrase, not being able to take revenge turned into forgiveness. Christianity amounted to a giant machine for bitter.
So this is beautifully explained a certain part of Christianity, what Nietzsche indeed does criticize in anti-Christian. Again, Christianity, Nietzsche definitely considered it a religion of slaves. And like in a modern context, to expand it, right? I think Nietzsche definitely would say same thing about any Abrahamistic religion in general. As for basically main point, and what I think main point of anti-Christian is that the greatest discontent and sort of disagreement with Christianity comes with the fact that, yeah, humanity desires all these things, right? Desires sex, desires power, desires sort of to rule over others, and etc. But the one interesting thing is that Christianity gives everybody a soul. And this is one of the things why it is, for Nietzsche, religion of slaves, a sort of philosophy of slaves, as is mentioned in this video. Because you cannot give someone something so valuable so cheaply. Because if everyone has immortal soul, right, suddenly it becomes something super cheap, something that does not hold any value. Suddenly it becomes a thing that I have it, you have it, everyone else have it. So if everyone else has it, it is not valuable. Like we don't value, for example, the fact that we are able to, I don't know, breathe a proper air, like air or etc. It depends on where you live, by the way, as well. Because, yeah, sometimes we live in places where there's such a horrible air pollution. But generally, common things that people have, we don't appreciate it. So when Christianity gave everybody immortal soul, it made it disintegrate into value. In fact, Christianity shouldn't be telling such a thing, but yeah, it's a fact, by the way, that Christianity was a religion of a lower class for a long time. And when Christianity became a sort of official religion of a Roman state, less than 10% of Christians were in Roman Empire. 90% was like different beliefs and different religions, but Christianity over time showed its true colors, right? Even famous city of Constantinople, there was second Great temple, as important and as big as Hagia Sophia, but Christianity was not tolerant, and it destroyed everything else, because that's how slave mentality works. And if we remember other great philosophy, and like etc., like what's the worst form of slavery? Worst form of slavery is to be slave of a slave, because that slave will be far crueler to you than a free master would, if you were to be serving a free master. And that in a real life, for example, that explains many other situations that we encounter in real life as well. And Christianity pretends, by the way, to have obedience, goodness, and etc., purity and forgiveness, because Christianity devoured and destroyed everything else. It destroyed pretty much 90% of the population. It was intolerable. And we see modern forms of it in other ways. And I think this critique should go further. But the main thing is, why are we giving everyone an immortal soul and suddenly they will either be eternally in hell or eternally in heaven? But point is eternity. Why are we giving worthless people eternity? We should be telling people that, hey, do you want to live eternally? Obtain it. Deserve it.
A denial. 3. Never drink alcohol. Nietzsche himself drank only water, and as a special treat, milk, and he thought we should do likewise. He wasn't making a small eccentric dietary point. The idea went to the heart of his philosophy, as contained in his declaration, "There have been two great narcotics in European civilization, Christianity and alcohol." He hated alcohol for the very same reasons that he scorned Christianity, because both numb pain, both reassure us that things are just fine as they are, sapping us of the will to change our lives for the better. A few drinks usher in a transient feeling of satisfaction that can get fatally in the way of taking the steps necessary to improve our lives. Nietzsche was obsessed with the awkward truth that getting really valuable things done hurts. "How little you know of human happiness, you comfortable people," he wrote. "The secret of a fulfilled life is live dangerously, build your cities on the slopes of Mount Vesuvius." 4. God is dead.
So
the secret of a fulfilled life
there is
is
interesting thing about alcohol, right? There's a Georgian, where basically everyone likes alcohol here. Everyone in a certain way drinks. Almost every family has a lot of alcohol in their home, because people make it yearly, every year. I personally think that comparing alcohol to basically saying that there is to regret the evil that happened to a person civilization, which is Christianity, and alcohol is absurd.
Nietzsche's dramatic assertion that God is dead is not, as it's often taken to be, some kind of a celebratory statement. Despite his reservations about Christianity, Nietzsche didn't think that the end of belief was anything to cheer about. Religious beliefs were false, he knew, but he observed that they were very, very beneficial in the sense of helping us cope with the problems of life. Nietzsche felt that the gap left by religion should ideally be filled by culture. He meant philosophy, art, music, literature. Culture should replace scripture. However, Nietzsche was deeply suspicious of the way his own era was handling culture. He believed the universities were killing the humanities, turning them into dry academic exercises, rather than using them for what they were always meant to be, guides to life. He admired the way the Greeks had used tragic drama in a practical, therapeutic way, as an occasion for catharsis and moral education, and wished his own age to be comparably ambitious. He called for a reformation in which people, newly conscious of the crisis brought on by the end of faith, would fill the gaps created by the disappearance of religion with philosophy and art. Every era faces particular psychological challenges, thought Nietzsche, and it's the task of the philosopher to identify and help solve these. For Nietzsche, the 19th century was reeling under the impact of two developments, mass democracy and atheism. The first threatened to unleash torrents of undigested envy, the second to leave humans without guidance or morality. In relation to both challenges, Nietzsche remains our endearing, fascinating, often lovable, and mustachioed guide.
So the thing about atheism and etc. I think alcohol also helped civilizations to cope with existing realities as well, and a lot of interesting stuff has happened because of alcohol in society in general. As for the declaration about God is dead, right? We probably live in on the most godless era, right, where pretty much people are using people, especially in power, just like in ancient times, just using religion as means to divide and conquer, part of it as a divide and conquer strategy, while they themselves don't believe in it. They absolutely don't believe in it. Yeah, in a certain sense, religion is definitely a mechanism to control society, but on the other hand, it's sort of necessary. I don't think that religion, sort of culture, can replace religion, simply because if we look at modern life, humanity is just too exhausted, and no one has time for true art or to anything else, right? It's really difficult to find time for that, and it's not easy. First thing, by the way, you need to comprehend true art. Try to guess it, by the way. That's the thing, by the way, people least have, but that's the noise, right? Constant noise we hear in a city environment. We live in a city, some cars driving, and by the way, one of the most loud thing in a city are cars. In fact, they're so loud. There's never a proper quiet place to just truly think and to truly detach, because silence is a must for a person to think, and no one really cares about, by the way, to make sort of cities quieter. And that's not having an agenda. So it's really difficult for a person to comprehend an art when there is constant noise out there, because it definitely hinders comprehension of an art. I mean, how many times I have wanted, for example, to sit down, read, or etc., but because of the noise, I cannot do it. And some people might want to claim that, oh, that's not the issue, just get earplugs or whatever, and noise doesn't bother me. But yeah, to truly delve into an art, to truly comprehend things, you need true silence. A thought process to truly occur, you need silence. And that's something we least have. Even if you go to some remote place, you probably find thousands of other people as a tourist going on that place. So silence sort of became a very important thing, and there's not enough silence in humanity right now, especially work-life balance and so on and so forth. And another thing is that most people are not interested in the truth, right? In fact, whoever tells society the truth, that person will become the victim of the society. Because society and masses are not interested in the truth. They are interested in beautiful lies, and whoever tells the beautiful lie the best will be sort of applauded by masses and respected by the masses, and whoever tells a hard truth will be condemned by the masses. And that's the thing. But I think Christianity as a religion, sort of, at least certain parts of Christianity, it's trying to adapt, and I mean, time will tell. But problem with the statement that God is dead is that, yeah, probably, and as the saying goes, probably average Joe does believe in God. But problem is that others don't believe it. The problem is the smart ones don't believe it. It's the same all over the world. And the problem is that starts to create a problem, because smart ones, they don't. They will pretend, for example, especially if monetary value is attached to it, and there are so many societies. Their monetary value is directly attached to whether you believe in that religion or not. There's so many societies right, like that. So the type of people, they will never come out. And they are smart and you cannot catch them. Connecting monetary value to that becomes very dangerous for society and societies over time. Yeah, and that's the main problem. God is dead, and even if you want to claim it's not dead, problem is that the smart ones won't believe in it. And yeah, the original video will be linked down below. It's a amazing, very well made video. And if you are first to my channel, I am Georgi. My nickname is Iveriel, and hit the like button, subscribe, and comment down below. Let me know what you think.